Hare Krishna, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We continue reading from Caitanya Caritamita. We are on Adi Leela, chapter 10, text 60. Ashwadila Esaba Rasasena Shivananda Vistari Kahiba Age Eshaba Ananda. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Shivananda Sen experienced the three features of Sakshat, Avesh, and Avirbhav. Later, I shall vividly describe this transcendentally blissful subject. So, yesterday we were hearing how Lord Chaitanya gives his mercy in three ways. One is Sakshat, that he's personally present; Avesh, that he empowers someone with a particular power of his to do some particular service. And third was the uh, Avirbhav. Avirbhav, that he's in a different place, but yet people can feel his presence, or he appears that, they can feel. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that Shivananda Sen experienced all these three features of the Lord. We can see how close and associate, confidential and associate Shivananda Sen is to Lord Chaitanya. Srila Shivananda Sen has been described by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj as follows. Shivananda Sen was a resident of Kumarhatta, which is also known as Hali Sahara, and was a great devotee of the Lord. So Shivananda Sen used to stay in a place which is called Kumarhatta. And he is, all this Kumarhatta is also known as Hali Sahara. About 1.5 miles from Kumarhat is another village known as Kanchadapada. Kanchadapada, in which there are Gaur Gopal deities installed by Shivananda Sen, who also established a temple of Krishna Raya that is still existing. Shivananda Sen was the father of Parmananda Sen, who was also known as Puridas or Kavi Karnapur. So Shivananda Sen's son, his son is known as Parmananda Sen. He's also called Puridas. Puridas was a name given to him by Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya would gave him the name Puridas. And he's also called Kavi Karnapur because of this beautiful prayers that he recited. Parmananda Sen wrote in his Gaur Ganadesh Dipika 176 that the two gopis of Vrindavan, whose former names were Veera and Duti, combined to become his father. So as we have been hearing, Gaur Ganadesh Dipika is where the personalities who are appearing in Chaitanya Leela, who are they in Krishna Leela? What is their identity? So this Gaur Ganadesh Dipika is written by the son of Shivananda Sen. His name was Parmanand Sen, or also his name is Puridas, as Lord Chaitanya would call it, or even Kavi Karnapur. So in this Gaur Ganadesh Dipika, Kavi Karnapur is writing that his father, Shivananda Sen, in Krishna Leela, there are these two gopis, Veera and Duti, two gopis of Vrindavan. Srila Shivananda Sen guided all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya who went from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, and he personally bore all the expenses for their journey. So every year the devotees would go in the 4 months of Chaturmasya from Bengal to Jagannath Puri to be with Lord Chaitanya, and Shivananda Sen would make all the arrangements, paying for their tolls, all the transport, everything's making sure everyone's comfortable, and all the expenses. He uh, he bore the expenses. This is described in the Caitaniya Caritamita Madhya Leela, chapter 16, verses 19 through 27. Srila Shivananda Sen had three sons named Chaitanya Das, Ram Das, and Paramananda. So, three sons. Shivananda Sen has three sons. Their names are Chaitanya Das, Ram Das, and Paramananda. And it is this Paramananda who is Puri Das or Kavi Karnapur. As mentioned above, this last son later became Kavi Karnapur and wrote the Gaur Gaunadesh Dipika. His spiritual master was Srinath Pandit, who was Shivananda Sena's priest. His spiritual master was Srinath Pandit. So who? His as in Shivananda Sen or Kavi Karnapur? His last son later became Kavi Karnapur and wrote the Gaur Gaunadesh Dipika. So Shivananda Sen's spiritual master was Srinath Pandit, who was his priest. Due to Vasudev Datta's lavish spending, Shivananda Sen was engaged to supervise his expenditures. Vasudev Dutt was Mukunda Datta's brother. Mukunda Dutt, who would be singing so beautifully for Lord Chaitanya that Lord Chaitanya would constantly dance. So his brother Vasudev Dutt, who told Lord Chaitanya that I can suffer for everyone's sins. You take everyone back to Godhead. You deliver everyone. If only I'm left in the universe, it's okay. And Lord Chaitanya says, I am sold to Vasudev Datta. I am the slave of Vasudev Datta. Vasudev Datta can do anything to me because he saw the compassion in Vasudev Datta. And Lord Chaitanya said, this whole universe is delivered. What loss is there if from a bag of mustard seeds, one mustard seed goes missing? So many millions of universes are there. What loss is there? One universe already delivered. So this is the glories of Vasudev Datta. And Vasudev Datta, he was not very good with his finances. So Lord Chaitanya, he asked Shivananda Sen, you take care, you manage the finances of Shivananda Sen. Shivananda Sen actually experienced Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's features of Sakshat, Avesh, and Avirbhav. He once took along a dog while on his way to Jagannath Puri, and it is described in the Antya Leela first chapter that this dog later attained salvation by his association. So we were saying that Lord Chaitanya, he gives his mercy in three forms, Avesh, Sakshat, and Avirbhav. And Shivananda Sen personally experienced all of these three forms. Sakshat, he personally saw Lord Chaitanya. Avesha, he saw this Nakula Brahmachari. And Avirbhav, I can't remember. We'll hear about it. So there was a dog who became attached to Shivananda Sen on his way from Bengal to Puri, and Shivananda Sen took him along. And then this dog, he got his four-armed Vishnu form. Lord Chaitanya personally gave him the coconut pulp, and the Lord got delivered, got his four-armed Vishnu form. When Srila Raghunath Das, who later became Raghunath Das Goswami, fled his paternal home to join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his father wrote a letter to Shivananda Sen to get information about him. Shivananda Sen supplied him the details for which he asked, and later Raghunath Das Goswami's father sent some servants and money to Shivananda Sen to take care of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was formerly known as Raghunath Das before he became the Goswami. He was called Raghunath Das. He was the son of like a billionaire in today's terms. And he was so attached to Lord Chaitanya, he didn't want to stay at home. He would keep continuously running away to Puri to be with Lord Chaitanya. And finally, one time his attempt was successful and he went to, otherwise, all the times his father would catch him he would send his servants to catch him, bring him back, keep him in his house, got him even married, but nothing could stop Raghunath Das. He kept trying to run away. So one time he got really successful and he reached Puri, was with Lord Chaitanya. So the father, being worried about Raghunath Das, he asked Shivananda Sen if he knew anything about Raghunath Das, and Shivananda Sen gave him the details, and then Raghunath Das's father sent some servants and some money for to take care of Raghunath Das, because the father is like a really, really rich man. And so he has brought up his son in luxury, and he's like, how's my son going to live like a mendicant? Here, send him some servants, send him some money, take care of him. So once Sri Shivananda Sen invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home and fed him so sumptuously that the Lord felt indigestion and was somewhat sick. This became known to Shivananda Sen's eldest son Caitanya Das, who gave the Lord the kinds of food that would help his digestion. And thus Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased. This is described in Antya Leela, 10th chapter, verses 142 through 151. So we are kind of getting a preview of what's coming up ahead. Another pastime with Shivananda Sen and Lord Chaitanya is that Shivananda Sen invited Lord Chaitanya for a feast, and he gave him such heavy foods. All the foods were so heavy, fed him so much that Lord Chaitanya got indigestion and he didn't know what to do. So Shivananda Sen's son, Chaitanya Das, gave some digestives, some foods which help in digestion to Lord Chaitanya, and that relieved Lord Chaitanya of his symptoms, and he was pleased with that. Once, while going to Jagannath Puri, all the devotees had to stay underneath a tree without the shelter of a house or even a shed, and Nityananda Prabhu became very angry, as if he were greatly disturbed by hunger. Because as we heard that Shivananda Sen would every year organize this pilgrimage for the devotees of Bengal to come to Puri, and he would personally take care of everything, all the expenses, all the comforts, the food. So at one such time, Nityananda Prabhu was also there, and somehow they didn't have like a tent, or they didn't have like a proper place to stay, and they had to stay under a tree. So Nityananda Prabhu apparently became angry. Nityananda Prabhu is the Lord. So he can never be overcome by anger and ignorance. But this is his pastime. He became angry as if he were greatly disturbed by hunger. Thus he cursed Shivananda's sons to die. Shivananda's wife was very much aggrieved at this, and she began to cry. She very seriously thought that since her sons had been cursed by Nityananda Prabhu, certainly they would die. When Shivananda later returned and saw his wife crying, he said, "Why are you crying? Let us all die if Sri Nityananda Prabhu desires." So this is the relationship between Shivananda Sen and Nityananda Prabhu. There is that love, that loving exchange. It was based on love. The wife got scared because she couldn't understand what's happening. She couldn't understand. So she took it because she's, of course, she's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? My sons are going to die. Why is Lord Nityananda doing that? But Shivananda Sen understands the Lord, and he knows nothing like that is going to happen. And he's saying, if the Lord wills, let us all die. We are, after all puppets in the hands of the Lord. So when Shivananda Sen returned and Srila Nityananda Prabhu saw him, the Lord kicked him severely, complaining that he was very hungry, and asked why he had not arranged for his food. Such is the behavior of the Lord with his devotees. Srila Nityananda Prabhu behaved like an ordinary hungry man, as if completely dependent on the arrangements of Shivananda Sen. So if Lord Nityananda wanted, he can just by his mere will create palaces over there. He doesn't have to stay underneath a tree. If by his will he could have just manifested a lot and lot of food. He's the Lord who's manifesting the entire material world. So he's maintaining the spiritual world. So why does he have to even act like this? Just showing that there's a loving exchange, that yes, Shivananda Sen is performing such an important service, that he is providing for us while we are on our way to Jagannath Puri. He's making all these maintenances and arrangements. So he's giving so much credit to Shivananda Sen. The Lord could have done it himself. But just to point out what an important service Shivananda Sen is doing, he made this pastime of apparently becoming angry, apparently having this kind of hunger or being uncomfortable. The Lord is Atmaram. But he has this loving exchanges with his devotees. Are there any questions or comments? Oh, there's only this. So let's just read this one also. A nephew of Shivananda Sen named Shrikant left the company in protest of Nityananda Prabhu's curse and went directly to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri, where the Lord pacified him. On that occasion, okay, so what happened is um, when Shrikant is a nephew of Shivananda Sen, when he was seeing this exchange between Lord Nityananda and Shivananda Sen, Shrikant couldn't understand the Lord and his behavior. So he became disturbed. So what did he do? He said, I'm going by myself to meet Lord Chaitanya. And he left the party and went himself to Jagannath Puri. And Lord Chaitanya calmed him down, pacified him, did not disregard him. No, he calmed him, he pacified him. He's the Lord himself. On that occasion, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu allowed his toe to be sucked by Puridas, who was then a child. So Puridas was the youngest son of Shivananda Sen, as we heard. Paramananda Sen is his another name, and Kavi Karnapur is his another name. And he got the mercy of sucking the toe, like children. Children always like to put things in their mouth. We always telling them, don't put this in your mouth, don't put that in your mouth. So Lord Chaitanya allowed Puridas to suck his toe. It is by the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he could immediately compose Sanskrit verses. That's why he was called Kavi Karnapur, because he was a child. During the misunderstanding with Shivananda's family, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered his personal attendant Govinda to give them all the remnants of his food. This is described in the Antya Leela, chapter 12, verse 53. So, to pacify Shivananda Sen's family with what had happened with Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya told his servant Govinda that give them sumptuous food, give them all the food that there is there, all the remnants of his personal food, Lord Chaitanya's personal remnants. He told them, give it to Shivananda Sen's family. And this is how he pacified them. So these are the loving exchanges between the Lord and his devotees. We may not be able to understand them. We may think, oh my God, what's happening? Why is it happening? But we hear them, and then gradually, we will be able to understand them. It's all on the platform of love, not on the platform of not on the material platform. It's on the transcendental platform. So if there are no questions or comments, we'll stop here for today. Shri Caitaniya Caritamita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.